Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video from your favorite man-child, Super Jesus Jackson. The Michael Jackson biopic is one of my most anticipated projects of next year, 2026. It was initially supposed to come out in October of this year. Actually, it was supposed to come out earlier this year. Then they moved it to October. And then I believe after that no trailer was coming out, things went quiet, and then they just came out and announced that they were going to split the film into two parts and put it out next year. The first part coming out in April, I believe, or March, I'm not sure. All I know is that it's coming out in the first half of the year, and then presumably the second half coming out in the latter end of the year. Crazy. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff. I've made a couple of videos surrounding the Michael Jackson biopic. One of them about why I'm a little worried about it. The other, I was sort of addressing some alleged reporting surrounding the film about how the MJ estate potentially messed up in terms of whether the film could use certain names and the certain stories related to a sexual abuse case in Michael Jackson's life. And the Michael Jackson estate apparently didn't do their due diligence, didn't check that Michael Jackson's agreement and with that family and the court system and stuff like that. Like that specific case was not to be used. It was not to be dramatized in any sort of biopic or anything surrounding Michael Jackson's life. Like it was not supposed to be addressed anymore. The MJ estate apparently did not, remember this. They didn't read this. They just didn't look things through enough. And they ended up using it in the movie. And that's sort of, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but that's sort of been the story. And at the time I was addressing it and being like, I don't know. I don't think this is, that just doesn't seem right. Like, how would you mess this up? But at the same time, I could see how they could mess it up because it's the MJ estate. And also, it's kind of disheartening that they're probably not. I don't know I don't know which one it is. I don't know if this is the Jordan Chandler one. I don't know if this is the Gavin Arvizo one. I'm not sure. I don't know. But either way, it's unfortunate that we're not going to get the full picture. We're not going to get the full story that they wanted to tell in this movie. And so they had to do reshoots and everything. And this is already shaping up to be a complete mess. Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now. If anything, maybe the MJ estate and the producers were probably happy about this because they're like, oh, thank God, we don't have to address that stuff. But on the other hand, it is going to piss off probably a good half of the world, because I have said that, like, I think that this film is going to be controversial no matter what. Like you're not gonna be able to please everybody. It's just not gonna happen. But some new juicy stuff has come out. New, really juicy stuff, and I think this is really like it's not a fantastic thing for the film, in my opinion. But Paris Jackson, the daughter of Michael Jackson, of course, she's come out and sort of said some stuff. We'll just say that. A lot of it is in regards to Coleman Domingo. He is the actor that plays Joe Jackson in the film, and some of the comments that he's made recently at an event in Venice, Italy. I'm going to read this article here. It tells us a little bit of a lot of the juicy details, and then we're going to check out some Instagram stories that Paris Jackson recorded in her words, and that's probably the part that I'm worried about the most. But here we go. Let's get into it. Michael Jackson biopic drama, yay. All right, this comes to us from Entertainment Weekly. Paris Jackson denies Coleman Domingo's claims that she gave him guidance for the Michael Jackson biopic. That is Coleman Domingo there, fantastic actor, and Paris Jackson, a fantastic, mediocre Tom York impersonator, as she proclaims in her Instagram bio. All right, Paris Jackson is clearing up any misconceptions about her involvement with the upcoming biopic of her father, Michael Jackson, simply titled Michael. While hosting the AMFAR benefit gala in Venice, Italy, star Coleman Domingo, who plays controversial Jackson family patriarch Joe in the biopic, told People that Paris and her brother, Prince Jackson, were very much in support of our film. That's a quote. I'm excited to be here at AMFAR tonight with Paris. It feels like that's a nice way for us to be together, Domingo added, noting that he's, quote, chatted briefly with Paris about the project, and she's been, quote, nothing but lovely and warm to him. Paris, who was also attending the Amphar benefit gala, responded to Domingo's comments via her Instagram story, calling the actor out directly for alluding that she had been very helpful during the production. People has amended its story to exclude the note. Oh, okay. She continued, I read one of the first drafts of the script and gave my notes about what was dishonest and didn't sit right with me. And when they didn't address it, I moved on with my life. Not my monkeys, not my circus. God bless and God speed. So now we're getting into the really potential, potentially problematic aspects of this. She says right here, she's literally adding Coleman Domingo, don't be telling people I was helpful on the set of a movie I had 0% involvement in. LOL, it is so weird. I read one of the first drafts of the script and gave my notes about what was dishonest, didn't sit right with me, and when they didn't address it, I moved on with my life. The Antoine Fuqua directed biopic about the late King of Pop stars the late singer's nephew, Jafar Jackson, as Michael, and will be split into 2 separate films. The film will follow the singer's life and career from his early days, yada, 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 whatever. Included in the film are Jackson family members, plus major players in his career, Berry Gordy, yep. Okay, reps for Domingo, Jackson, and Fuqua did not immediately return Entertainment Weekly's request for a comment. Yep, and we are not going to get into this, because we have the video of her speaking. But Coleman Domingo saying some stuff. He's like, we chatted. He did say chatted briefly with Paris. He did say that. But saying that she's nothing but lovely and warm to him. But he also said, and most importantly, Paris and her brother, Prince Jackson, were very much in support of our film. That is kind of the problem here. Because, I mean, there's some things that Paris says later in her comments that sort of, like, Coleman Domingo isn't saying here that, like, Paris and her and him are, like, friends. You know what I mean? Like, he's not saying that. He did say that they briefly chatted, right? That's the quote. So that's still accurate to what Paris is saying. But nothing but lovely. Yeah, whatever. I mean, that could be subjective. But the thing is that he said very much in support of our film. Paris and her brother, Prince Jackson, very much in support. And Paris is saying, no, dude. And here's the thing about Paris. And before we get into her videos, like, Paris to me has seemed like she's sort of kind of like the person that's kind of on the side of the Jackson family. Like, she's the one sort of, I don't know. I'm sorry. I love Paris. I absolutely love Paris. And I love a lot of the things that she loves and the things that she stands up for, you know? I love that her bio on Instagram says mediocre Tom York impersonator. I love that Michael Jackson's daughter loves Radiohead. I fucking love Radiohead. And I wonder if Michael Jackson loved Radiohead, because that'd be really cool. So it's really cool. But in terms of like Prince and Paris, Prince seems to be more of the cheerleader for Michael Jackson. Like when it was his birthday, or when it was his late death, the date of his death, of Michael Jackson's death, that is, Prince, you know, he put on his story, you know, rest in peace, Dad, you know, like all this stuff. He shares all this MJ stuff. He seems to be more involved. Paris, I went on her story, nothing. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't really see her talking a lot about her father, you know. She seems to be very kind of distance from that, and that's her right, you know. I mean, I can't imagine being the daughter of the greatest entertainer of all time, and you know, I can't even imagine, you know, the mental struggle that you know, it was her father, you know, but also just what her father was, and then she's also trying to be a musician herself, you know, and successful in the music industry. So it's I don't know what her deal is. She also has a bunch of tattoos, you know. Like I said, she's clearly very different from her father in many ways, right? So it's interesting, and all of this kind of tracks with Paris. Everything that's going on right now with what she's saying about the biopic. And Prince, though, I'm curious. I mean, he seems to be very, not cheerleading, but at least he's not saying bad stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. That's what it seems to me. I don't know if you guys have any other information about that, but let's get into the videos that she recorded, because she says some really, really worrying stuff.
There's been a lot of responses to the thing that I posted earlier about just like clarifying like that I wasn't involved at all, aside from like giving feedback on the first draft and then getting the feedback that, yeah, we're not actually going to address your notes at all. And I was like, all right, like, fuck me, you know. So I just like butt it out, and I just like I've left it alone because it's not my project. So, you know, they're gonna make whatever they're gonna make. A big reason why I haven't said anything up until this point is because I know a lot of you guys are gonna be happy with it.
Oof.
Like a big section. The film panders to a very specific section of my dad's fandom that still lives in the fantasy, and they're gonna be happy with it. Just like,
ooh, that is the juiciest thing she could have, like, oh my God. Okay, so big things right here, right? So she read the first draft of the script, which, you know, these are Hollywood movies, you know, first drafts are first drafts, you know, eventually, you know, there's a third draft, second draft, whatever. But in the script, one of the guys that's writing it is the writer of Gladiator and like Skyfall and stuff. I mean, this is good stuff. This is a good writer, you know, it's not just anybody. So, and Antoine Fuqua, of course, director of Training Day and the Equalizer movies. This is a very capable director. So, and it seems like clearly this biopic is not going to be like the Rocket Man biopic, which is unfortunate because that's probably how Michael Jackson would have wanted it. Maybe. I could see it either way. You know, Bohemian Rhapsody seems to be like that one was the biggest biopic, got over $1 billion, I think, and it secured the Oscar win for Freddie Mercury. That's how much I see them as interchangeable. Rami Malek. But that and the producer of Bohemian Rhapsody is behind this one, this Michael movie. It seems like they're really going for like the Oscar, like, you know, super prestigious, like it's not bombastic and surrealistic like Rocket Man or like the Robin Williams biopic Better Man. Like they're kind of not really doing that, even though that would be awesome, you know, and that would be very Michael Jackson. Seems like they're going for more, you know, the Oscar movie, you know, very drama, serious, you know, like very grounded. And that's cool. You know, I understand that. I would have liked to see more, you know, more pizzazz, more art, you know, out of it, but that's fine. As long as it's good, right? As long as it's good. But a very capable writer, but she read the first draft of the script. And obviously we have to mention studios are involved in this. Lionsgate, Universal, I believe, depending on the release. I think Universal is doing it worldwide, I think, and Lionsgate is in America. I'm not sure, but it's one of those. But the MJ estate, really, that's the biggest probable issue here is, you know, what are they going to sign off on, right? And so Paris read the first draft of the script and was like, she gave her notes about what was dishonest in her quote. And they gave it back to her and were like, yeah, you know, thanks for that. We're not really going to change that stuff, but cool. And then she was like, all right, fuck me. That was pretty funny. That's a problem. That's a problem because what is she talking about? What is the dishonest stuff? Obviously she can't say, you know, obviously, she probably signed some agreement, you know, to not disclose the stuff in the script before the movie comes out. But it's clearly maybe, I could be wrong, we all could be wrong, maybe it's surrounding, you know, basic stuff about her dad's life. But I don't know, because the second part of this video said, this movie is going to, a big section of my dad's fandom, a very specific section of my dad's fandom is going to love this film. You guys are going to love it, you know? And specifically, and this is the really problematic part, she said, specifically, those that will like it are the ones that still live in a fantasy regarding my dad. And when she said that, I was like, well, clearly it's the bad stuff. You know, it's either the drugs, you know, the fact that he was a drug addict, the fact that Michael was paranoid, the fact that Michael, you know, oftentimes he played himself as the victim. He did do that, you know. Say what you guys want about the Martin Bashir interview. Michael did not appear to be the most, you know, honest or truthful person ever. You know, when like he asked him, how many surgeries have you had? And Michael was like, 2. That's a lie. You know what I mean? Like that was a lie, you know, like, and then other stuff too about sleeping in, you know, in the same bed as the kids and stuff like that. Like Michael just did not come off as, you know, like he was being honest. Yes, you know, partly, you know, he was just being himself, you know, and obviously he was very defensive because the press were insufferable towards him. They were unjust, you know, with him a lot, but specifically the tabloids, of course, right? Like they were awful to him. So I get it, you know, like, and all that, but like, he did. It's just there's certain things that this man did that like, I'm sorry, and I believe him. I think he was innocent. That's my gut feeling, right? And the court system, obviously, again, I will say it again, he was never found innocent. He was acquitted, which means that there wasn't enough evidence to frame him, and there was not enough evidence to find him innocent. So he's not guilty, but he's not necessarily innocent either. Now, me, in my head, I'm like innocent until proven guilty. That's how I roll. But, not a lot of people roll like that. and that's understandable. And I wish he would have been found innocent, like for sure, but like, that's not what happened. And so that's the reality. And I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. Like I think he's innocent, like I said. And he's my favorite entertainer of all time. But this is, I think, what Paris is talking about, which is like a lot of people live in this fantasy, especially in the MJ fandom, in this fantasy that MJ did no wrong, like maybe sleeping in the same bed as some kid, that is not your son or whatever, when you're a celebrity in terms of the power hierarchy, maybe that's not the best thing to do. It doesn't look right, even though he probably didn't do anything, and so that's the thing, man, and MJ had his flaws and stuff like that as a person. And I just, and so the fact that she's saying all this really, really worries me. And the fact that she was trying to be honest about it says a lot about her and says the worst about the team and the MJ estate behind this film. And that's what has me worried. Let's keep going.
Like, I remember hearing about how Freddie Mercury's family responded to seeing the Bohemian Rhapsody film, right? And I remember, like, reading the Dirt autobiography as a kid, and then growing up and, like, watching the movie they ended up making, starring, like, MGK, and I was like, okay. The thing about these biopics is it's Hollywood, so it's fantasy land. It's not real, but it's sold to you as real, and a lot of sugar-coated, like the narrative is being controlled, and there's a lot of inaccuracy, and there's a lot of just full-blown lies. And at the end of the day, like, that doesn't really fly with me. I don't really like dishonesty. I spoke up. I wasn't heard. I fucked off. That's it. Y'all are gonna like the fucking movie, so just go watch it, go enjoy it, do whatever, leave me out of it.
Oof.
So,
oh boy.
Something that, like, quite a lot of people are saying is, like, she hates her dad. She resents him. She wants nothing to do with him. Because I'm not, like, calling the shots on set, being a big shot producer of a movie that's filled with just inaccuracies. That's not my truth. That's not where I'm coming from. I just prefer honesty over, like, sales and monetary gain. Like, that's it. And I kind of just don't want anything to do with that.
Good for you, Paris.
So I'm going to fuck off again. And I'm going to keep minding my own business. And I suggest you do the same. God bless and Godspeed. A pop visit also. And I will say, for some of you guys that are not, like, insanely familiar with the dynamic between me and, like, my dad's fandom, and, like, why would you be? So I guess, like, when the actor that's in the movie did that article with Rolling Stone, and he was like, Paris is so helpful and, like, supportive of this movie, blah, 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 and she's been helping out on set. My response to that was like, yo, I've met this man twice. Once at a birthday party and once at the Amphar thing the other night. Both were, like, hella brief interactions. Like, I've met this man twice. Because I said this man, she's so rude. I can't believe the attitude from her. How could she say this man?
Yep, there it is. I mean, that's... Look, we already talked about the Coleman thing. I mean, I don't know what Coleman's Domingo thing was, like talking about, I mean, I'm sure he's a good guy, like, I don't know. Maybe he was just trying to really promote the movie. I don't know. But that, yeah, I mean, look, if she really wasn't, I mean, to be fair, I don't think he said that Paris was on set. I don't think, at least Entertainment Weekly didn't specifically say that. Maybe the Rolling Stone article that she's mentioning did, or People. I'm not sure. I don't think he said that. He just said that she was supportive of the film. But I could check right now. Let's see. Okay, so it does not seem that Coleman Domingo said anything about Paris being on set and stuff like that. So Paris is now trying to, she was exaggerating things there. There's that too. But, he just said that Prince and her had been very supportive. Clearly that was the lie. It's not true. Or maybe he didn't know that she wasn't supportive. I don't know. It's possible. Like there's a lot of, when people, work in these movies and stuff like that, there could be a lot of siloing. Maybe he thought she was supportive. I don't know. I mean, it's also, why would he ever say, they're not really supportive of the film? I mean, he should have just probably stayed quiet. There's that. But maybe it was a difficult question to answer. I don't know. But point is, she's not supportive of the film, clearly. And good for her, honestly. Good for her. And she very specifically talked about Bohemian Rhapsody, right? And said, I remember speaking to the family behind Freddie Mercury and Queen and stuff like that regarding the movie, and they weren't happy with it. And then she talked about the Motley Crue movie with MGK and stuff like that, and she read the book, and then she saw the movie and was like, that doesn't seem to work. And so this is not good, man. This is just not good. And for a lot of you guys know a lot about Michael Jackson. I know way more than the average person. I'm not an expert on Michael Jackson, but I know some stuff here and there. Maybe I'm gonna watch it and be like, what the hell's going on here? This isn't right. Maybe I'm even gonna do it. If Paris, the daughter of Michael Jackson, who probably knows a lot more that we don't know, is able, to say there's some dishonest stuff here. And from what it seems like, it's not just, little things here and there. It's not just like, Michael Jackson met Berry Gordy this year, but we're just going to speed it up a little bit, or we're going to back it up a little bit just for the sake of the movie or whatever. Like, maybe it's not just those. Maybe it's not those little things. Maybe it is the big stuff that matters about his life and about his flaws, or about the things that will make Michael not look as great, and that is not good. That's not good, because that is just pure dishonest. That's pure dishonesty, and it's a goddamn biopic. Like, the whole point of it is for it to be showcasing, not only it's a form of art and expression, but it's supposed to be truth. That's the whole point of a biopic. Otherwise, describe it as a dramatization. Describe it as a sort of fictional tale of Michael Jackson's life, like the Weird Al Yankovic biopic. That was like a biopic, but also a parody of a biopic. Like, and it was exaggerating, and it was like not real at times. Like, and it was fake. Like that was the point. That was cool, but that was because it was intentional, and it was intentionally that way, right? But this one, I expect the best. I expect the greatest biopic of all time, because this is about the greatest entertainer of all time. This is Michael Jackson we're talking about here. And the fact that, I'm not surprised. I mean, they used fake Michael Jackson vocals in a posthumous album for monetary gain in sales. They did it. I mean, they didn't confirm it, but they did it. Let's just all be honest with each other. We've heard it. So if they're capable of doing that, which is like literal blasphemy. I mean, Michael Jackson would if somehow he would come back to life and he figured out that they did that, I don't know what the hell he would do. He would probably just go back to sleep, if you know what I mean. What a disgrace. What a disgrace, man. And it pisses me off too, because I don't know where Prince, I'm not a huge fan of Prince, but from where I've heard, they've remastered, Prince's Purple Rain movie in 4K. They've already put it out. Where the hell is the Moonwalker film in 4K? Where's that? Hell, there isn't even a Blu-ray American version of Moonwalker. You know, like, it's like, he's the greatest entertainer of all time, but yet, like, there's no effort put into it. And at times, yes, Michael Jackson 1 is great. It's a great success. The documentary, the Thriller documentary was okay, you know, but some of this posthumous shit that's happened in terms of the music was awful. It was a complete slap in the face to his legacy. And from what it seems like, though, the Prince stuff is going well. They're releasing like this documentary, you know, in IMAX and stuff like that in theaters. Like, what the hell? You know, like, and you know, he's not getting a biopic yet. You know, I'm sure that's going to happen at some point, but I'm just disappointed. Not mad. I'm disappointed. Disillusioned. Obviously, I'm still going to see this goddamn movie. I'm still going to see it. I like the director. I like some of the writers, but like the fact that it is probably going to be dishonest is not good. And especially after the fact that it's been delayed, there's been reshoots, and a specific, you know, big part of his life, you know, his controversy is not going to be included in the film is a big, big problem. But, you know, that's neither here nor there, because that was a contract. That was a thing that was part of the negotiation at the time, you know, when Michael was having this child abuse claims and allegations against him. So, but anyways, that's it for me. I really want to hear what you have to say in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think this is bad for the Michael Jackson biopic? Do you think, I don't know. Do you, do you think this movie's still going to be good? Are you still going to go see it? What do you think about Paris's comments? You know, do you think, she does, I find it hard to believe that she resents her dad, that she hates her dad. I just think that she's a little bit more realistic about her father and who he was as a person, you know, like, not just his legacy as an entertainer, you know, like, I think she's a little bit more objective about it and just more neutral about it rather than a lot of the MJ fan base. I think that's my opinion, but I don't know. What do you think about it? How does it make you feel? Are you worried? Are you not? Are you still excited? What do you think of my opinions? Do you think I'm full of crap? I don't know. Just let me know. We can have a good discussion down below. We don't have to hate each other. We can do it. Give this video a like if you like. Dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content and you want to see more stuff like this. Share this video with your MJ fan friends, if you will, or not. I don't know. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. But that's it for me. You all take care. Stay safe. And until next time, I love you.